You know, Republicans are very worried about hanging on to the House, that you know. But this redistricting issue, which is very big in Pennsylvania, really concerns us right now because the way lines have been redrawn after Democrats had protested, brought to a judge and said they should be redrawn, it tends to favor or could favor as many as 4 Democratic pickup seats. Special election going on there as well that's getting a lot of both parties' attention. The Interior Secretary of the United States, Ryan Zinke, now he is there right now advocating in Pennsylvania some new energy contracts and the like that could benefit a lot of folks there and jobs, will help coal, et cetera. The Interior Secretary of the United States with us now. Secretary, thanks for taking the time.
Hey, great to be with you as always, Neil.
All right, thank you. First of all, on this, I know you're the Interior Secretary, you have bigger worries than whatever is politically going on, but there is a disproportionate amount of interest on the part of the president and everyone else about what happens in Pennsylvania. Republicans could lose 4 seats at a minimum in this state just with that redistricting. Are you worried?
No, but I am concerned about the obstruction. In Interior, we have 17 Senate-confirmed positions. 6 of them are filled. It's hard to get things done when you have a group of quite frankly, Democrats that want obstruction. So, and, you know, our nation's better than that. Now, I'm here in Pennsylvania for the abandoned mine lands. As coal production goes up, what it does is it frees up monies, in this case in Pennsylvania, about $55 million, to restore some past mistakes, reclamation. And as the steward of our great lands, you know, part of my responsibility is to look at past mistakes in mining and reclaim those lands for better use. And that's part of the program here. $300 million nationwide, $55 million gets distributed to Pennsylvania. And I'm right in the middle of coal country in Pennsylvania, which is, you know, great people, hardworking, and jobs matter too.
I'd be remiss, Secretary, if I didn't harken back maybe to your former Navy SEAL days with this attention on weaponry and what have you after the school shooting. And there's a back and forth where the president has encouraged a debate as to what should be done now. We had Colonel Ralph Peters on not too long ago, sir, saying, I'm a big advocate of the Second Amendment, but we don't need weapons like the AR-15 out in average folks' hands. How do you feel about that?
Well, we don't need crazy people to have access to advanced weaponry. You know, Newt Gingrich wrote a wonderful article about it, you know, probably one of the most articulate on the subject. But, you know, the Second Amendment, thou shalt not infringe, but also with responsible gun ownership. And I say that gun ownership is a right, but with a right also comes responsibility. And some of it is how our databases work. In the case in Florida, so many things broke down. And the tragedy is kids got killed because of a breakdown. But I think everyone can agree that we need to get, you know, crazy people and prevent that from happening again. And look, if you're 33 times or so is what the reports say that the law enforcement visited the shooter's home. Well, we had, you know, certain, you know, indicators, obviously, that it was going to happen. The FBI, it's a breakdown of the system. But I think America should agree on that if a person is heavily medicated, if he's crazy, showing signs, certainly he should not have access to weapons.
All right, so would that mean that you are opposed to what Florida Governor Rick Scott wants to do, sir, and that is raise the age at which you can get access to those weapons to 21?
You know, I think very highly of the governor, and I think it should be on the table, especially for semis. Bold action, I'm not concerned about with hunting, traditional shotguns. You know, I'm a hunter and fisherman, and you know, from the West, we have a slightly different perspective. But for semis, for the military-style weapons, I think it should be on the table to raise it. You know, also we have to balance it. When you're 18 years old, you're eligible to fight for this country.
You're right. Yeah.
And that is also a consideration. We're asking our youngs many times to put their life on the lines, and yet they can't come home and exercise their Second Amendment rights. But
They
I
also
think at this
can't
point,
drink. They also can't drink until they're 21. But, you know, the reason why I mention it, Secretary, and you've been very patient dealing with these questions, but it is in the news, that the NRA itself, and I don't mean to crassly put it in this term, is under fire when you look at the likes of companies that are increasingly ditching their association with the NRA. I include Best Western and Chubb, Hertz and Avis, MetLife, Wyndham Worldwide. First National Bank had a credit card that was linked to the NRA. They shelved that. Do you think Republicans should be very concerned, by and large, loyal to the NRA and the NRA loyal to Republicans, that might change?
You know, it's concerning that companies, you know, never yield to pressure, only hire principle. In this case, the principle is the Second Amendment. But again, I think the core issue is how do you get the weapons out of the hands that people that are clearly disturbed? Some of it's HIPAA, you know, are controlled. It's hard to get the data. In some cases, you know, you're going to have the left vehemently fight against releasing documents when people are under serious medication or not well. Mental health in this country is an issue. It remains an issue. So I think everyone should be on the table.
So not so much the guns, but who is getting those guns, right?
Yeah, that's the case. You know, and you know, I'm a gun owner, but it's who has access and at what time access should be available. And this is a national discussion. You know, clearly the shootings are tragedy, and clearly the president, you know, everything's on the table, and he wants to have a solution. But we need people that are willing to be with the president and not be obstructionists.
All right. Thank you very much, Secretary. We appreciate it on this very busy news day.